Next, I get one of the other questions I tend to get a lot is, if Jesus is a false pagan name, why did the New Testament writers use it? Okay, so now I have a question for those who ask me this question. Is this a fact or simply conjecture? Do we have the original epistles of the disciples, or do we have copies of their letters? Can and do translators make errors in their translations, deliberate or otherwise? Even Jeremiah testifies to this. In Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 8 we see, how do you say we are wise, and the law of Yah is with us? But look, certainly the false pen of the scribe has worked lies. So this belief that the New Testament was originally written in Greek or Aramaic is now being, or has been, seriously challenged by various other scholars, as they call themselves. So an increasing number of these Bible scholars are starting to retract this belief that the New Testament was written in Greek. As a matter of fact, what they are now starting to believe and look into is the New Testament letters, if you will, were first written in Hebrew, then translated into Aramaic, and from Aramaic into Greek. So that's the theory right now. So we don't know for a certainty that this is how the Messiah's name, and of course it just doesn't make sense for a lot of other reasons. But also, for those who pose that question to me, this is another thing I'd like for you to consider. Now, the Messiah had an opportunity to translate his name into Greek when he first called Paul. Yet, what did he do? According to Scripture, he gave his name in Hebrew to Paul. You can find this in Acts chapter 26 verse 12 through 15, and it reads, while thus engaged, as I was journeying to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priests, at midday along the highway, O sovereign, I saw a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, shining around me and those who journeyed with me, and saying in the Hebrew language, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? It is hard for you to kick against the prods. And I said, who are you, master? And he said, I am Yahushuah, whom you persecute. Now, are we to honestly believe that while speaking in Hebrew to Paul, that he said his name was Jesus? Come on. Come on, man. Come on. He did not translate his name for Paul's sake, nor for those with Paul. So why do you? Now, next up, we have of Jesus to be saved. In their hearts, they are calling on the Son of God and not on any person. That's what some other folks have said. Alright? So, I asked them. I pose again a question. Did not Aaron and the children of Israel believe in their hearts that they were honoring and feasting unto Yah at the base of Mount Sinai? Now, of course, you may say it was because of their worshiping the golden calf, the idol. However, does not Christianity today still have its own idols, graven images? They've got the statues, supposedly of their, Messiah, the one they call Jesus. You got the crosses. You got the paintings of Jesus, which certainly do not, according to Scripture, represent his real appearance while he was on earth at any level. and even more so I've discovered lately. And those things are forbidden by Scripture. I don't know if you folks have forgotten about that one. In Exodus chapter 20 verse 4 through 5, it reads, "You do not make for yourself, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow to them, nor serve them. For I, Yah your Elohim, am a jealous El." Now, a lot of people today tend to think this was one commandment, but as you can see there's actually two parts to that commandment. Number one, we're forbidden to make the images. Yes, that includes even a supposed image of him or the Father, which is in the heavens above. And number two, we do not bow down to them. The only part that most people seem to acknowledge is the last part, and even that one they break from time to time. So, also, people in the days of Elijah were doing that whole believing in their heart thing and their worship of Yah. And we find that in 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 21 through 24. "And Elijah came to all the people and said, How long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If Yah is Elohim, follow him, and if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. And you shall call on the name of your mighty one, and I call on the name of Yah." Clearly, by his name. No other name will do, folks. That in my heart stuff, he does not accept. Because if that is your reasoning, do you believe that those of the faith of Islam who worship the Creator in their hearts, although they call him Allah, do you believe that they would have salvation? And there's some folks who believe that even I don't have salvation because I use the name of Yah, and not to mention some of my other practices are so different from theirs. But this is nothing new, folks. This has been happening for, thousands of years. In Mackay, they documented such a thing, or discussed such a thing with that in chapter 4, verse 5. And it reads, "For all the peoples walk, each one in the name of his Elohim. But we will walk in the name of Yah, our Elohim, forever and ever." So, again, this isn't a new thing. Everyone walks, if you will, as Scripture calls it, in the name of their God. But we are supposed to walk in the name of Yah, our Elohim, and his Hamashiach, Yahshua.